Hello everyone, I'm Nina. Before I show you this video, I just want to say this video went completely off the rails, and I do not hate this guy that Brad Palumbo is debating. I think he's a lovely person, seems very, very nice. I just think his take is a little out there. But because of YouTube's guidelines, I am going to have to cut a lot of this out. So if you're not a member yet, you might want to be, because it's the only way you're going to see the crazy that took place in this video. And like and subscribe. Hi, y'all. I'm Nina.
I'm Jessie.
So the other day I was watching Brad Palumbo's video, and he had on this guy, Ben Kowaller. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Ben Kowaller was on. And he's my age. I was agreeing with everything he was saying right up until the end. And then everything went to caca. This is where he lost me.
I talked to a 10-year-old female who identified as, she said, I'm pansexual and non-binary, and she's there with her mother and aunt, I think. And I said to her something like, "Oh, you'll go to bed with anyone," and she was like, "Yeah." And then her aunt was
she's 10.
Yeah, well, the aunt was like, "Not yet."
I'm pansexual and non-binary.
How old are you?
10 and a half.
You're 10 and a half?
Yeah. She's pretty confident.
And you're pansexual.
Yes.
You'll go to bed with anyone.
Yes.
Not yet. There's a feeling that what's behind this is wanting to sexualize kids. Maybe that's part of it for some people, but I don't think that this mother and aunt were trying to sexualize their child. And I don't think that when this little girl says that she's pansexual, she actually means she's having sexual experiences with other kids.
No, probably not. But I guess what they are trying to do, though, is affirm their child. And I worry that these more liberal parents are, again, it's good to be open-minded. A little too open-minded and your brain can fall out. Like, if your 10-year-old's telling you that they're pansexual, which is just bisexual with extra made-up victim points, indistinguishable.
Well, I would say, in defense of pansexuality, I do think that it means I don't see how it's applicable to a 10-year-old child. But when I hear that, I think I'm attracted to people regardless of sex or whatever gender identity they have adopted. So,
but that's how
bisexual.
That's bisexual. There are only
Yes,
two sexes. To me, sexual orientation is about sex, not gender identity. So I view them as indistinguishable. But hey, if you disagree, explain it. Yeah.
Well, I think that would it include a post-operative trans woman? I mean, that's someone who is sort of, I just heard this term the other day, kind of medically induced intersex, right?
Oh, I haven't heard that. That is interesting. No, I agree with you. There is a limit, but to my concept of what it means to be gay does not include being attracted to a trans man. I might be initially attracted if I just saw them and didn't tell.
I think the problem here is allowing your 10-year-old to adopt any type of sexuality. When I was 10, I did not know I was a lesbian. When I was 10, I had, crushes on boys in my class. They were guys that I was friends with. I never said I was pansexual. I never said anything like that. When I was 15, I came out as thinking I might be more into women. But that's around the age when people are dating, and those things do come up when you realize those kind of things. At 10 years old,
The devouring mother is alive and well with that child.
10 years old.
Did you see the mom or the aunt? Why do they always have parents or guardians that look like that? Overweight, unattractive women who look like cat ladies. I'm just wondering, why do they all look the same?
I think that if my child were to come to me at 10 years old and say I'm pansexual, I'd say, hold up.
Who the was talking to you about that
I would say, hold up. What do you think it means to be pansexual? And then they're going to say something like, I like boys and girls, regardless of if they're boys or girls. And I'll be like, okay, honey, you just like having friends. You're 10. Come back in 5-6 years, and then we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. At 10 years old, you don't know that you're pansexual.
And it's very confusing. Pansexual, what the does that mean?
So,
what is pansexual? What's the difference between pansexual and bisexual?
So that is exactly what this guy was just saying, which is bisexual indicates that you will be with a cis, as they call us, a real woman or a real man.
No, that's not what it ever meant.
But that's what this belief of it is. Bisexual means you are going to stick within the binary. Pansexual means you don't give a
You don't give a crap of what they identify like.
What they got.
What they identify as.
No, what they have.
What they have is in what?
Their genitals. They don't care what their genitals.
But that's bisexual.
No, that's pansexual. Bisexual says if you're a man.
Wait. Before there was pansexual, what were people?
I think that you're missing the point where there's a lot of bisexual people who won't sleep with trans people.
Bisexual means I will sleep with a man or a woman. So if you are attracted to men or women, but you don't like this woman's personality, are you straight?
No, you're still bi or pan depending.
So are they not dating the transsexuals because of their personality or because of who they are?
Well, they wouldn't date any trans individuals.
Okay, but what about the people who won't date black people? Or black people who won't date white people? What sexuality are they?
They're just racist.
So is that a sexuality now?
No, it's just racism.
But wouldn't that just be a sexuality because they don't find them attractive? Doesn't mean they don't like them as people.
No, but that's racist still.
Oh.
I think it's judging someone based on their race.
I'm a racist because I don't find someone attractive? That's like saying that I'm transphobic because I don't want to date a man who thinks he's a woman.
I don't think that you're racist. I think that it's a racial implication, which has nothing to do with sexuality. Because you still find some black women attractive in that situation. You wouldn't find any men attractive.
If a gay man doesn't find any women attractive to sleep with, is he a misogynist?
No, he's gay.
Wait, but if he doesn't find women attractive, that would make him a misogynist, right?
Misogyny is just giving men more power than women.
Before, when people were dating trans women, what were they called?
Pansexual.
No, pansexual wasn't a thing. Before pansexual, what were they? The people that would date trans people. What did we call them?
Homos?
Homosexual or bisexual? The only reason pansexual ever came into the mix is because people wanted to say, I identify as something else and I'm special. So now people have to define a different sexuality for themselves so they could date me. That's psycho. It's fucking nuts.
Didn't tell. But I'm sorry, but for most people's idea of gay doesn't involve female anatomy, shall we say.
Same. However, Brad, what's interesting is that there are people who identify as gay men who are perhaps unexpectedly attracted to that. I mean, I've met some of them. It
but
seems
that means they're a little bit on the bi spectrum.
Well,
in a
maybe, however,
technical sense.
but they wouldn't be attracted to cisgender women. They are attracted to some, these are, I don't understand if there's a...
Okay, then what about grown-ass men who are only attracted to little boys? What sexuality is that? Is that pansexual as well? Where's the cutoff?
That I don't agree with the term pansexual. Not bisexual. I don't agree with pansexual, but I see what the point of it is.
Pansexual just means I'll date someone who's right?
Yeah.
I'll date someone who's trans.
Yeah.
That's what pansexual means.
Yeah.
Which, it's just bisexual with some extra steps, like Brad said.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between sexual orientation now and gender orientation, but they want to mix the two. Like gender and sex meant the same thing for years, but now it means something totally different. Gender means something totally different than sex, right? But when we say sexual orientation, we're including pansexual in that, which has nothing to do with sexual orientation, but has everything to do with gender orientation because it all depends on how that person you're attracted to identifies. So your identity changes depending on how your partner identifies. Am I right or am I wrong? So when your partner is a man and he identifies as a woman, you're pansexual. But when he reverts back to being a man, now you're bi. So now he has control of your identity in your relationship. That's pretty.
I think pan means all.
I think pan means bullshit.
No, the word pan from its origins means all. And I don't think that bisexual...
All meaning what?
All genders. I'm saying that the identity of pansexual was made to include transgender people. And as much as you might not like it, that's what the term is there for. Bisexual people, I know from our audience, bisexual people want a man who's a man and a woman who's a woman. So yes, I do think, just as you want distinction between transgender and AGPs, there's a differentiation between bisexual people and pansexual people.
You're right. And if we ever get married, you might end up being pansexual if I decide to change my gender.
I'm not pansexual. You're f***ing things up,
But
not me.
if I change my gender...
It doesn't change what I
No,
identify
it does,
as.
because
no, only
I
in
would be...
your little twisted mind.
Okay, so in his twisted mind...
Yes.
Okay, stop changing our words. Stop changing lesbian, sexual orientation, transsexual. Stop changing You are making it worse for everybody else. And I'm tired of the trans shit. Everyone's fucking trans nowadays. Shut the up. I have bills and shit. I don't care. That's how I feel.
Vagina there, I'm out. But there are gay men who will take a vagina if it's in the package of a masculine-looking man. And I don't know, I mean, but that's an answer.
That's bi! If you like see, you're not gay! It doesn't matter what the fucking woman thinks she is. On a daily basis, your sexuality could change depending on her mood. How up is that? Our rights are fucked up and almost gone and are gonna be sayonara, senora, senior, whatever the fuck you are, because these people are trying to change all the definitions. Ah! It makes me so mad.
Does that mean that one time you were with a butch lesbian, you are now bisexual because she looked more masculine than feminine?
According to them, yeah. Thanks, you just erased gays and bisexuals and lesbians. You.
Look what you done.
That's how I feel. You just released the Tina.
Is this really what you wanted?
This is what you wanted.
Is this what you wanted?
What you wanted.
That's what you got.
You wanted to trigger me. You did it.
I didn't do this.
You did it. I'm all sweaty.
There, then I think that becomes that unlike gender identity, sexuality is actually a spectrum in that not everybody is 100% straight or 100% gay. Some people are a little bit in the middle. And I think that explains that.
Can we not have a word then for someone? Because I think that there are people who are bisexual, right, in their classic sense, but the minute that someone is trans, that screws it up for them and they're not attracted to that. Can we allow that?
Yeah, that's what they call transphobic bigots.
No, I think this is...
That's what they've been calling us.
What he's saying is exactly what my point was, which is that bisexual exists until someone transitions, and then they won't have anything to do with that. However, pansexual exists.
That's what they call transphobes nowadays. So what? So a pansexual is not a transphobe, but a lesbian, a gay, a straight, and a bisexual are all transphobes.
No, they're just in their gender identity. And if you're pansexual, then you will sleep with someone who's trans. But if you're not, then you won't. And that used to be an easy distinction to make. It used to be just like, oh, bi versus pan. Okay, so you're going to sleep with someone who has had medical transitioning. You won't. That was the whole difference. There are bisexual people who wouldn't sleep with transgender individuals.
My sexuality all depends on the sex of the person I'm sleeping with. Aside from pansexual, which is my sexuality is determined by how this person identifies.
I think that you're getting caught up on something different than what I'm getting caught up on.
I know what you're saying, which is pansexual means you will date some man who has gotten surgery to have a vagina and taken hormones and stuff like that. Still a fucking dude.
Yes, but would you as a straight woman date that man?
No.
Okay, so someone has to. So that's why they introduced pansexuals.
But it's still a man. Okay, so you would
wait.
So you would agree. Now, would you agree that a straight woman who is married to a man and that man transitions is no longer straight?
A straight woman
She's pan now.
is married to a man
Yeah.
who decided that he doesn't want to do anything but take estrogen.
Uh-huh.
She's still straight. Him deciding that he wants to do anything with his fucking body has nothing to do with her body.
But you
Not
just-
a fucking thing.
But you just said
no.
that that's what pansexual is.
Pansexual says I will stay with that man if he decides to become a woman. Straight woman will not stay with that man if he wants to become a woman.
But what if she loves him? I'm just saying.
She's not sexual this, sexual that.
There are probably people like that, bisexuals who aren't interested in trans people.
I haven't encountered that, but if it would, then they're still attracted to people of either biological sex. And there's two biological sex. That's the hang up for me.
Okay.
I guess it kind of depends whether you view sexual orientation about sex or about gender. And if you accept the idea that there's the gender unicorn spectrum of all the genders under the sun.
Well, there's a spectrum of gender presentations. I mean, I'm with you. I think that like the reason that this is so disturbing to me, the proliferation of gender ideology, as we say, is that for any kid, for instance, who has any kind of perspicacity, like if you tried to explain gender identity, a kid would say, or at least I would say, if I were like 10 and being taught this stuff about multiple gender identities, I'd be like, well, hold on a minute. Like, doesn't all of this rest on definitions of words? I mean, if you're a person who identifies as neither male nor female, or neither a man nor a woman, well, what do we mean by the words man and woman?
Explain without using crude stereotypes.
Yes, or without being circuitous. I mean, a woman is someone who identifies as a woman, a man is someone who identifies as a man. It is not a definition. If there are two camps here, biologists and gender theorists, and they're both putting forward ways of making sense of the world, well, one of those camps has a definition for male and female that allows us to make sense of the world. And until maybe, I don't know, 2014 or until 10 or 15 years ago, we understood that transgender was something where the entire point of being transgender was that you choose to live and present yourself in a way that is opposite towards your biology.
But now it's like that your biology is literally whatever you say it is.
At some point, someone decided, no, it's not enough for us to say that trans women are biological males who live as females, present as females. Trans women are women. And that is where you start having...
And if trans women are women, then pansexuality means bunk.
Yes, by their own logic.
Their logic only depends on how they're feeling, in their opinion.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
A sort of collapsing of rationality, because then you can't talk about things in a way that reflects what's actually going on. And that's what's frustrating.
There's a difference between biologists and gender theorists. One is a fucking theory, and the other is science.
Science is all theoretical. Love.
If science is a theory and gender is a theory, then everything is bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, so why don't I just kill myself?
I don't want to come off as defending any of the points. I'm just simply saying that pansexual exists as a 2014, 2015 term, not as a modern day term. Because pansexual nowadays would diminish any trans woman is a woman, you know? Because if you're saying I'm pansexual, I only date trans men and trans women, then it's by definition eliminating their gender identity.
So what were pansexuals before the term was ever coined?
Pansexuals were just people who would sleep with midgets.
I like Brad, don't agree with him all the time. I like this fella, definitely don't agree with him on this. Anyway, I liked being a today. This made me feel good. I just had to release all that aggression because these things drive me crazy when they change definitions and they just try to erase us and then call us names and then think that we give a shit about them calling us names when really we just don't want mentally ill people deciding our laws and definitions.
Please send us money for my medical bills because I'm going to get fought after this.
And I'm going to get electroshock therapy.
It won't help. It's still going to be crazy at the end.
Ketamine then. Bye.
Bye.